situationship is something I know I've been in. I know friends who have been in them. I think it's just like a relationship that should just either pick yes or no. It's not hard. It's binary. Yeah, yes, you're in a relationship, or no, you're not in a relationship. Stop being in between. Like, I don't know if I want to do this. Just pick one.
Wrong. Wrong. Don't do. You're basically trapped in a thing when you can't get out. Too complicated. Don't do. Basically, you know a guy, you like him and he likes you, and you want to be together, but you're not together. So you're in a situationship where you can see other people, but you're not with him.
Situationship, I think it's somewhere in between, and you don't know yet what it is. You can't figure it out. So for now, you're just going with the flow, and it is what it is, kind of. You don't want to label it. It's something somewhere in between. I think it's right. Yeah, because not everybody is always ready for a relationship.
I think a situationship is kind of like not the best, kind of wrong, because I feel like if you like someone and that feeling is mutual, you guys can go through that together. Like love is just it's just something together. Like being in a relationship is two people, and just playing with each other's feelings, I just don't feel like that's right.
This is I'm Right, You're Wrong, a podcast about the everyday debates you have with your friends at brunch. I'm Isa Medina, and I'm a comedian. Every week, I welcome on a guest co-host to talk about something that we've all debated tipsy at brunch before, at happy hour, something like whether plastic surgery is right or wrong, whether kid influencers are right or wrong, whether tipping culture has gotten out of control. This week, I'm talking to the hilarious Courtney Parchman about situationships. Are they right? Or are they wrong, babes? We're going to find out. It's actually really funny the way that we ended up talking about situationships. Courtney came on the podcast to talk about hard launching. So that's another episode you can look forward to, whether hard launching a relationship on social media is right or wrong. Because we used to have, like Facebook relationships, or people actually used to like start dating officially or go steady or whatever the heck used to exist. And now it's like you're putting someone's hand in your story and people are just supposed to know that you're with somebody, and that feels a little bit like super duper confusing. So Courtney and I were talking about that, and we realized that we both dated the same guy back in the day. And it's actually a really funny story. So then she ended up coming on the podcast again the following day to talk about whether situationships are right or wrong, because she was in a situationship with the guy that I was in a situationship with. And I think dissecting both of our perspectives of that situation was so insightful on all the reasons that a situationship can be right, or also all the reasons that it can be wrong. So for those of you who don't know, a situationship is essentially like a romantic relationship without clear labels or commitment. It's more than a friends with benefits thing, but it's less than a committed relationship. So they're a lot more common with people of our generation because people are like a lot less committed, and also everyone is on dating apps. So they're sustaining like multiple relationships at the same time, waiting to see which one is best. And I also think we have this FOMO culture because of the internet. We always think that there's something better out there, but I honestly think that there are pros and cons to a situationship, but it depends on, sorry to say, but the situation and how long it's been happening. That's why I think this conversation with Courtney is so interesting. It is super nuanced. So without further ado, here's the episode with Courtney Parchman. Enjoy.
Hi guys.
Welcome to the show. How's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. Why? Do I seem like something's off?
No, do I look good? Do I look like I just woke up?
No. Okay. Does it look like I told you something that is crazy?
No.
No? Okay.
No, we're both good, right?
Yes, why?
Yeah, perfect.
Hi guys, I'm Courtney.
Welcome to the podcast, Courtney.
Thanks
you.
Thanks for having me. We filmed a whole podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
Left the podcast. We followed each other on Instagram, saw we were following someone mutual, and I was like, hey, why are you following this person? She was like, I softly dated him for 2-3 months, right?
Yeah.
I was like, me too. Kind of ruined my life.
He ruined her life?
He didn't ruin my life at all. I did it to myself.
That's okay, because I had someone else ruin my life.
Yeah, shortly after. Right?
Yeah, who was a girl. But the person that we both dated, that was the same person, was a boy.
Yeah.
And then that made me question, am I gay? Because a man has never like ruined my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it wasn't until you were heartbroken by, oh, not gay, not bi.
Yeah, I'm bi.
I
Yeah,
see.
exactly.
I see.
I'm bi, but I'm like, I've only been heartbroken by women. And so I'm like, am I gay? And
Well, I think my friend dating a girl for the first time, and she was like, I just feel like when I get upset, it's so much. Actually, maybe bleep out the name.
yeah.
Because I don't want to.
Yeah, no, don't worry,
anything.
don't worry. I'll believe
But I feel like if
we can also say name.
Gotcha. Well, I would assume he's listening to this, and just so you're not having an anxiety attack right now, I have not one bad thing to say about
Yeah,
you.
she had nothing bad to say about you. I did say you were like a loser. No. I think neither of us had one bad thing to say.
Yeah, we have, which is the thing, which is such a great leeway into the topic of situationships, because it's like it's so much of like figuring everything out. It's like such a weird spot of like, if you catch wind that like you don't want to have a serious relationship with this person, there's a billion reasons for that. Like, there can be nothing wrong with the person. You're just like, just not my person.
Yes, and it's so important to like remind yourself of that, because I feel like I've been, like I mentioned, I was on the other side of like you, and I think it's gonna be fun to bleep his name out like
Every single time. Yeah, we mess it up one time. And it sounds like we're saying a lot of cuss words.
Like bleep that one out too. With me, I literally was like, oh my God, like it's gonna end, and I'm like so horrified, like, because she was like my first like girl love, kind of like not love, but you know, relationship-y vibe. And so I had that feeling of, why doesn't she feel like this towards me, and like I'm going crazy, and like I have the anxious attachment.
Oh, you knew it was coming when it ended.
Yeah, I kind of ended it in a way because I was like, hey, like I need clarity. And she was like, I don't have it. And I was like, well, I need it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, if you don't have it, then this is over.
And she gave it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst, is when you know someone wants to break up with you, but you know in order for it to happen, you have to be the one to initiate it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, be a fucking man, or like be an adult and
exactly.
like say what you need.
Literally, my fear is that I've always like preemptively ended things.
Because you get like an inkling.
And I don't know, some people say that it's good to stay in a situationship like longer, just to like learn from it and like learn a little bit about like the relationship and how to be in a relationship. But I feel like I always end it because I just don't like inauthenticness.
Yeah.
And I can like sense when someone's like not into me.
Yeah.
And so then I like kind of talk to them about it, and then the truth comes out. But now, having talked about it with my therapist, I'm like, maybe they really were undecided.
Yeah.
And they just hadn't made up their mind. But I'm like, well, how do you not know if you're in love with me or not? Like, I feel like you should know that.
Yeah. I'm in my first like actual relationship, and it is so much of learning. I didn't even start dating until I was 25, and was the first guy I ever went on a date with, fell in love with him, and got my heart broken. But then I dated so many people right after that, because I was like, anything I can do to get over him, but like hanging out with myself was like, I guess, not an option at the time, which is fine, because I'd never dated, and it was like, I lost a lot of weight, and so guys were looking at me, and so it was like this drug after that I was like, okay, well, maybe this will help, but I had 3-month thing after 3-month thing after 4-month thing after, like back to back for like 2 years. And this is the first time I'm like sitting in a relationship, and it is so crazy, like all of the self epiphanies you have about so many things in relationships,
about having, well, and that's the thing, is like I don't think I have even had that before, like, yet, like the longer relationship, like the longest, well, in college I dated a guy for like almost a year, but he's gay now, so in my brain I'm like, that didn't count. But
never there.
I talk about that in therapy a lot.
Okay.
My therapist is like, it counted. And I'm like, but did it?
You just had a really, really great friendship for a year.
Yeah, who I like had sex with and lost my virginity too.
Awesome.
Yeah. But how long do you think, because we both had kind of like a 2-3 month situationship with the same guy.
Yeah.
And we're talking about situationships. Do you think situationships can last longer than 3 months?
Totally. I think they can last as long as you let them last. Like whenever people are in like a couple years, I don't know, I see like TikToks and people answer like, I waited for someone to decide on me for like 4 years. And that's like, to me, a situationship is just whenever, well, there's like intense situationships that are like basically you're together and then out of nowhere you're not, or you never labeled it. But I think they go as long as you let them go.
Yeah. And do you feel like those relationships that because I have a lot of friends who like were in situationships for years, right? Like
Yeah.
during college and even out of college, the guy was like undecided. And now some of them are married.
Yeah.
And they're in these relationships with guys who dragged them along for like so long. And I'm like, how do you feel about that? Like, is that right? Is that wrong? Like, is that relationship unbalanced?
Okay, so if the guy drags along the girl for a long time and then out of nowhere decides, okay, but they like made the girl go through hell to get that.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think?
I think if they like have actually like matured and changed as a person,
Yeah.
it could be right. But I think that if it's the same guy, the same person, and they're not like emotionally compatible, like I feel like a lot of times what ends up happening is like the woman just ends up taking more of like the emotional labor on, at least in like heterosexual relationships, and like and that's what creates like those marriages where like the woman is like
ignoring certain things for it to work.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah, I think so. I think that's true. I really stand by the statement of if you're confused, it's a no. If it's a yes, then you know. Like, and I have never seen that not be true. Like, if you're confused if the guy likes you, where it's like a situation thing where you're like, what's going on? Probably they don't, because if they do like you, it is so fucking obvious, and they're just like doing everything they can. But I also have been the person like, like 2 years after, I was still trying to get him to want me, and so like I've also been the person that kind of ignored my personal needs because I was like, I need this man to validate me and I need him to love me, and I don't know why. Well, actually, I might know a little bit why, but I know a little bit why I did that, but it was all personal things I needed to work through. Like, it had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with like I was lacking something in myself, and so I needed him to validate something in me, and but it wasn't him. So I hope I don't. Well, I'm in a relationship right now.
But do you think that it was ultimately then good that you went through that situation because like you learned a lot from it?
Oh my
Because
God, yeah.
I feel like I avoid a lot of situationships because I see so much advice online that's like, yes, girl, no, girl, like do this, do that. This means this means that. And so when you take all of the advice that's online and you like immediately apply it, then you end up not even doing anything and getting to a place where like you even learn mistakes. You learn from your mistakes because you don't even make the mistakes. Yeah. Like it's like right now it's like there's like a guy that I like and it's like he shows interest but not all the time. It's not like a yes, but I
Oh shit,
but I'm not,
sorry.
No, it's okay.
You're like spiraling.
I'm like no.
Anyways,
No, so like what do you mean? Yes.
You just keep saying
confused?
You just keep saying Shelby, so the whole rest you don't have to worry about talking out the rest of the time.
No, but like I am now not anxiously attached to this person anymore, so I'm okay if it turns into like a hookup-bationship because
Is that a word? Did you just make that up?
Mm-hmm.
Hookup-bationship.
Like a situationship, but really just focused on a hookup.
Yeah. Friends with benefits.
Yeah.
Hookup-bationship is a lot easier to say than friends with benefits.
Yeah.
So let's use that one instead.
But I do this thing where I like, if I like someone and they show interest in me, then it's like we start, texting, talking, whatever. But as soon as I like realize I like actually like them, if they aren't like extremely validating or like making the move or texting me,
isn't that
then I cut it off.
That's avoidant, right? Because I'm anxious attached, where like if I feel like they're not reciprocating that, I double down and I'm like, I planned this and like I need all of their attention because I'm like, see.
Have I turned into
You've like
anxious
turned the
avoidant?
opposite?
Because I used to be anxious attached.
I also think it's normal, like with Skylar, like I've gone through so many waves. Like there'll be like, there were times where like I was avoidant, and then there was like a week where I was extremely attached, and like just working through all of it. And so I've appreciated him loving me through every phase because like it let me work through whatever I was working through. And he knows he's my first like long relationship, so I think I learned a lot about that from him.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like I've only ever learned those things from like friendships because I've had like really long and tumultuous friendships that have gone through like ups and downs, and we've like gotten to the other sides of those moments and grown together. Yeah. But
also something I didn't expect is that when you start dating, like you love each other, you're having so much fun, and then as it starts settling in, there's like little things. Like I'm extremely I love doing so much stuff. Like every single day I'm like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do this. Oh, I just saw this, we should go try that. And Skylar's a lot more of a homebody. And just figuring out, okay, I know this about me, I know that about you, how can we make this work? And then figuring it out. But like, if you asked me check boxes before I started dating Skylar, I would have been like, never could date a homebody.
Yeah.
And then it's like learning how to become the right people for each other. And like what you can and can't figure out. I think that's like probably the first couple of years is just like, okay, figuring your strengths and weaknesses.
That makes total sense. I feel like, again, since I haven't been in like a longer term relationship, I'm kind of empathizing with that through like my roommate, like my new roommate, and I get along really well, but she is a homebody, and I have had like felt a little bit overwhelmed. But I'm like, okay, the compromise here is that I need to like find a solution to work around that, because everything else about her I really like.
Yeah.
And so I need to like compromise and see like where we can like give and take.
Yeah.
But you and Skylar seem like a good match.
Yeah, I did break up with him after 4 months, because I was so unfamiliar with that feeling after a situationship where like you really start settling and you really start figuring out like the good and bad of it. And I was like, I guess we're not compatible. And I didn't know that couples fight. Like I had no idea. Like there are real arguments where like you are on the same team and you are fighting for the same result, which is like you both to be happy in the relationship, but like you're gonna come to big disagreements and it's gonna be sometimes the same thing. And I didn't know that, and I was like, we're just not compatible. And the more I talked to my friends in longer relationships, they're like, yes, everybody fights. And I had no idea. And then the other thing was like because I listened to a lot of like, if you break up, can you get back together? What does that look like? It was basically saying like, you can't get back together if it's like, okay, I'm gonna change for you, or I can change. You can only get back together. Not only, I'm sure there are exceptions.
After you said the thing about yes or no, about if it's a yes, it's a yes. Oh yeah. If you're confused, it's a no. You're like, there are exceptions
every once in a while, but it said you can't come in expecting each other to change and be different for each other, because that's never going to work. But you can come in and say like, I accept you fully for who you are. But I think if you do that, like before when Skylar didn't want to do something with me, I would take it as he doesn't like me. But I can be like, okay, I accept that you're a homebody. Now I know like I shouldn't expect you to come to every event with you. And what a great opportunity for me to hang out with my girlfriends. Like that's awesome. And I can, like on days I want to stay home, or if there's something that's more in your category, like we can do that together and have so much fun. But like you have to like accept that about each other instead of like try to change it.
Totally. But I do think that gets to like a limit of like, what are your priorities too?
Yeah.
And then like if that works with your priorities, then like you can keep that. Do you think that in a situationship, like you are already starting to like assess those things, or do you think in a situationship
I have no doubt from what I have gathered from your brain and what I know about my brain is you're assessing it like the second you meet them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the second I meet them, I'm thinking like, okay, would they be a good fit for my kid's dad? Like,
I know. Do you think that's too much though?
Yes. It's hell.
I asked you as if it was as if it like was a legitimate question. Obviously.
Do you think like maybe we shouldn't be doing that?
Wait, do you think we need to stop like picturing our like wedding and future with the people we go on a first date with?
I mean, I'm sure it's good. I don't see what bad could come from it.
What bad could come from that?
I do like though the putting my kids involved, because like I can ignore certain things about a guy, you know? But the second I'm thinking about like my daughter and having those qualities as a dad, I'm like, get the fuck out of her life. Like you don't deserve that. And it's a lot easier for me to like end something, because I'm like, I can take it. I'll make excuses for myself and why I deserve that. But like my daughter doesn't.
Wait, that's an amazing trick.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a situationship and it's toxic and you feel like you keep going back to him, it's like, it's because it's so much easier to empathize for like other people than yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, would my daughter?
Yeah.
Like I said this to a friend the other day. I was like, would future you, like if this guy, I have a friend who's hooking up with this guy and they both work in the same space and she's doing way better than him. And I was like, but he's like treating her like shit. And I was like,
oh, okay.
I was like, wouldn't you be like embarrassed if you like keep doing better than him and then he can go around telling everyone like he did this to you?
Yeah.
Like past you. I was like, stop. I was like, don't let. And then she's able to be like, oh yeah, that's like, I don't want to
Yeah. And in situationships, I feel like it's so easy to accidentally date their potential the whole time. Like you're waiting, like, well, maybe if they like me more, then this will step up, or blah, blah, blah. My friend Abby, she gives the best advice. One thing was like the first 6 months are the best it's gonna be. Like not the best
It should
it's gonna
be the best it's gonna be.
Yeah, but like those 6 months, like it's gonna be the easiest for them to be thinking of new dates, all these stuff, because it's new, it's fun.
Yeah.
And so that means if it's like not reaching what you need in the beginning, like it's never gonna reach what you need, because it's not like they're randomly gonna be like, oh, and then start.
Yes, totally. I feel like that always happens. With men. I mean, obviously, I'm speaking as a bisexual person, but it's like I have a lot of girlfriends who like only date men, and they think like, oh, well, he's just like emotionally unavailable now.
Yeah.
And then once he becomes emotionally available, he'll also be a good boyfriend. I'm like, those two actually don't necessarily align. Like he might be emotionally available, but he might not know how to be a good boyfriend.
It's so hard though, like when you have a crush, you know, like a real crush, and you're like, maybe. It's so hard.
Totally.
But yeah.
And also a crush is something to live for. Like,
Yeah.
I literally like, I feel like I got on antidepressants when my crushes stopped this summer. I was like, I don't have a. I was the crushes were holding me through the summer.
They're the only things making you not want to kill yourself.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, now I don't have any crushes. I guess I should get on meds.
Yeah, totally.
They are it's kind of a loop, because the meds then make you like your sex drive go down.
Oh yeah,
like, totally. Now I don't have crushes.
And now you do have crushes, you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit more about the situationship that you were in with? Because I think the story of, I don't know if you want to tell this story.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty comfortable with it.
The story of what you told, just such a classic story of you got ready and you like did the whole thing.
Oh my god, that. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, it is so crazy because like I've really never talked about this, and it was something that ran my life for like 2.5 years, and nobody knows this, including him.
Yeah, and that's always how situationships go. I feel like there's always one person on one side who doesn't realize how much damage they did.
Yeah.
That's why I always get hurt, I think, more by women, because I'm like, you should have known better.
Yes, that's what was saying, bleep that, but she was like, it hurts so bad when my girlfriend does it, because I'm like, you're smarter than this.
Yeah.
But a guy's like, oh my god, I can't believe I have to like teach this to you.
Exactly. Like, which is annoying too, because it's like we shouldn't empathize more with men. But you have this hilarious story of you guys had dated and then gotten back together.
Just to like explain a little. Okay, so I lost a lot of weight. Before that I hadn't dated, just because I just didn't like, I didn't like see myself as I was like, so I don't know. Didn't. Lost a lot of weight, and I went on my first date. Actually, that's a lie. I went on one date before, but it was just, I don't even count it. It was just like it was really weird. The whole thing was weird.
You also lost your virginity to a gay guy?
I didn't fuck him.
I'm just kidding.
I guess I lost my dating virginity to him.
We're sisters. And I'm not going to say
Eskimo.
the other. Okay, she said
Bleep it out. Cut it.
Cut it.
We just cut something really bad.
Yeah.
They all probably would know what I said if they...
Blank sisters, and now I said it.
Yeah.
Blank.
Okay, so he was my first like real date. I had been like simultaneously talking to this guy online for a long time, and developed a weird relationship with him through Raya.
Yeah.
And so I went on a date with Raya guy, liked them both, went on a second date with and was like, oh my god. And then I went on a second date with Raya guy and was like, hey, I met.
Yeah.
Started dating only for like 2.5 months, not that long, but I fell in love with him so fucking hard. Like, I hope I never feel this way about a guy again, because it was not appropriate. Like, I needed his validation so much. I was so anxious about our relationship all the time. And it's so hard to looking back on it, because so much of it feels like a blackout to me, because one, I had no idea who I was, because I had just gone through this huge physical transformation and still was like figuring out who I am in this body. And before, comedy was a drug to me, and then male validation became a drug to me. And so it was just like so much of like, what the hell? Like, I don't even know why I was so anxious if some of the relationship wasn't good. I don't know why, because I just like looking back on it, I'm so confused by the whole thing.
Yeah.
I just know I fell in love with him, like met some of his family. I think he was like as into it as I was in the beginning. And then I remember at the date, I remember it happening. I was sitting there, we were having fun, and then out of nowhere, like something hit my stomach so fucking hard, and I just remember not being able to talk. And then I was like, I'm sorry, I just got so nervous, I can't talk. And he was like, it's okay. I was like, I think I'm like really scared. I think I really like you. Like, I don't know what's going on. And he was so sweet. And then after that, I had no personality. Like it literally, like my life, like we were at Korean barbecue. I remember where I was sitting, and then it was just I had no personality. I couldn't make a joke because I was so scared of what he would think. I couldn't everything I did after that was manual. Like it was just so weird. And
I've
so
been there before.
yeah, and so then we did that for like a month
I've been
and a half.
exactly there. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I know a Korean
I've
barbecue.
been there
so I
with. No, I'm just kidding.
and then I just like kept trying to be I don't even know if I was trying to be myself. I was trying to be this like perfect girl that I thought any guy would like. So I was like being really quiet and like, oh, it was just so weird. And I like think back on who I was during that time.
Oh my God, yeah. I've been like that just with crushes before.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you realize how much you like the person,
yeah.
you kind of like internally freak out and then start acting like a different person.
Yes.
And I think for us, sissies, like, very much
for
Tim's
our genes.
type.
Oh yeah.
Funny girls, I would say.
Yeah.
Some of the best parts about us are like our personality
humor.
and our humor. And
No
like,
guys ever liked me for my physical.
And
they're
same.
always emphasizing that. They're like, it's not the way you look, it's your personality. And I'm like, okay, say it
you
different.
don't have to emphasize that.
Yeah, it's really horrible.
Yeah. And so it's like when we shut that off, it's like we become completely different people.
Yeah, they're like, there's literally no reason to date you. Like they can't fathom it being for a look.
No, literally.
No, it's seriously like the biggest thing I have to offer.
God.
Yeah, and so after that,
Which is amazing because guess what? Doesn't go away with age.
yeah, that's true. It does go away like with mental health.
Oh, actually, I feel like I get funnier when I'm more mentally ill.
I'm so jealous.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's a strength,
Oh,
not a weakness.
Well, I've been feeling better, so I haven't posted a video in like a month. But,
Because you're like you don't need that validation.
yeah.
Oh,
But it's a strength and a weakness.
yeah, I'm sure there's pros and cons to both. Okay, so I like completely lost my personality, and then we like dated for like a month and a half, and I kept feeling like something was off, but I couldn't put a finger on it. I was talking to my roommates, and they were helping me as much as they could. I was just like so deep. And then he met like all my friends, and then I woke up at like 5 a.m. one night, and he just like was like, we have to break up. This is over. And I was so confused. I thought I was dreaming, and then it was over after that. And I literally after that, it became like my life's mission. Something switched in me, and it was like, you need to win him over and get his validation, because nothing like I think I'd lost so much weight. I didn't know who I was, and then I was like, oh great, I'm in love with this guy and he can tell me who he wants me to be.
Yeah.
And I was just so messed up. So then after that, it was like, this is so embarrassing because I'm sure he's gonna listen to this, but like everything, it happens. I'm sorry. Sorry. Well, I wanted to get dinner with him at one point and kind of tell him what happened and be like, this is going to be so embarrassing to tell you, but I just want you to know, like, you ran my 20s. Like, my 20s were about trying to figure out how I could get you to want me back. Like, it was so crazy. So then I would I felt like I was getting back to my old self. I would go like 4 months and I'd be like, I feel like I'm me again. Okay. And then I would text him and be like, hey, can we get dinner? And obviously wanting him to like fall in love with me, because I knew the girl I was in the beginning of the relationship he liked.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I can just get back to that girl, he'll like me again. And so I would get dinner, and then we would spend the night, and then I would like, it would happen again. He like wouldn't text me and want me back, and I would like spiral again, and then be like, okay, I need to get better, and like just kept trying to be different versions of myself so that I'd like maybe like this one of me.
Yeah.
And 4 months go, well, maybe this girl. And there's just
That also sounds like, now hearing you talk about it again, I'm like, I wonder if it was because you had so much in your control, like when you like lost the weight, it was like in your control, and you like got your control back, and you were also doing a lot of stuff on social media that was like in your control, and maybe you thought like, you were like, oh well, like it gave you anxiety to have this thing where it's like you can't control how like another person feels about you.
Yeah.
Do you think it could have been that?
I think what it was since I like guys didn't really like look at me for most of my life, and so I never really got that male validation, and so comedy became my thing, and I got really good at it, and then got a whole career from it, and then I got male validation and realized how good it felt, and then I was like, I literally don't give a fuck about comedy.
It's
all I
addicting,
want
isn't it?
is male validation. And I would like go to the store by myself and put on a cute outfit and makeup and look at like make long eye contact with every guy there and be like, just look at me, just because I was just like I'd never experienced it before.
Crazy, because I know exactly what you mean, because honestly I think the reason I was so focused on my career in my 20s in LA was because I never felt like hot enough. When I was in LA, I was so focused on my career that I like never sought out male validation, because I tried. Like when I first moved to LA, I tried to get male validation. I never got it from the people like that I wanted it from. And so then I was like, okay, I quit. I'm just gonna like focus on comedy and like do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I just like blocked that entire aspect of my life, and I was queer mostly for the 5 years I lived in LA.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to New York, something about being in New York, maybe it was just, I truly feel like it was just my confidence, because I like look the same.
Yeah.
But I moved to New York with this like newfound confidence, and I felt better. Like I felt like I was getting male validation, and it is a drug, and it is addicting. And now I've fallen into this loop of being like straighter in New York, and I'm like, fuck.
Also, when I didn't care about male validation, I was basically asexual, just never thought about guys, didn't think about dating in general. And I was so fucking funny. And then like whenever I like started getting more straight, I am so much less funny.
Yes.
It's so annoying.
No, it's crazy, because you start thinking like,
through the eyes of a man.
yeah, and you're like, oh, I don't want to be like, or a video, I'm like, oh, I don't look cute enough.
Yes.
Like it's funny, but I don't look good enough. And it's like, once I started posting things that I didn't care how I looked, it's like once things started doing well.
Yeah. I'm like still working on it, because I'm still like releasing myself of this like and horrible drug.
It's a drug. And I feel like the reason people love situationships, it's because it's kind of like that dopamine rush of, oh my God, he texted me.
Yes.
And now I have the power.
Yeah.
And now I can
It's
wait.
fun. It's exciting. And then once you're settled in, I was just thinking the other day, it's like, oh, I'm just sitting here. I love my boyfriend. My boyfriend loves me. This is nice. This is easy. But it's like, I'm not a fiend. Like, I'm not like, I have this category of my life that's now just like calm, where for so long it was like, and it was like a constant thing going on. And now it's like half my life is just like settle.
Do you feel like relief from that? Because I feel like a lot of people who like haven't been in long-term relationships feel like, okay, once I get into that, then I won't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, it's made, well, now like the thing going up and down is me, and I have to like face that, because it like affects my partner. When I'm more anxious and I'm like reading into more things, like he loves me, I need to like not put my issues onto him. So it makes me like really look inward and be like, okay, what the fuck is going on in here? Because it's not going to be fair if I like put it onto him.
Yeah. I mean, that's really healthy that like you're looking at it that way. Because I talk about with my therapist a lot how like I don't want to get into a relationship because I just feel like I'm not like good enough or like have fixed enough of my problems to like be in a relationship, and I don't want to put them on someone else. But I feel like I'm like at a point where I know how to approach the issues.
You're also like aware enough to take a minute and be like, let me figure out why I'm feeling like this before I like come at you, because I know I can like misinterpret a situation because I'm feeling a certain way. And also like the right person isn't gonna like run away. Like I've put Skylar through hell because of my brain, and he's like every time been so sweet and understanding of it. So the right person will just like not.
Totally. And that's why was not the right person for either of us.
I also think I was not ready to be in a relationship.
No. Yeah.
I think that was a big part of it too.
Which is why it's so funny. You were going on a couple, like you were kind of like seeking his validation.
Yeah, okay.
And you would go on these dates with him.
Yeah, every once in a while I show him a new version of myself. And I really want to write a movie about just the classic trope of like truly losing your identity to a situationship and going about your whole life. Don't take it, by the way, or if you do, let me help you write it.
Yeah, you emailed it to me, so it's already like copyrighted.
Yeah.
So don't take it.
Yeah. And there was one time where I had just gotten out of a relationship, and I got a haircut, and I was like, time to go see again. It's time. And I hated my haircut. It was so horrible. So I was like, I need to go get extensions. He cannot see me with this haircut. And so I went into this lady, and I was like, give me extensions. And she was telling me all different kinds. I was like, what are the best ones? She was like, here are the Rolls Royce of extensions. $4,000 I had 8 pounds of hair on my head. It went like, I'm also 4'11".
Tiny.
And like it looked like a toddlers and tiaras. Like I looked insane. Yeah. And so I have $4,000 of hair in my head, which like is an insane purchase to this day. Like the most I've ever spent on like anything like that. Eyelash extensions, fake nails, fake tan, all of these things. And I just remember being like, time to go see. And I
just can picture you in your apartment being like, it's time.
Here we go. I text him, set it all up. We go to get dinner. I drive all the way to him, which is like We did not meet in the middle. It was like
Yeah.
far away. I go to his side of town. We go get dinner. It's midnight. I'm like, yeah, he likes me enough to like maybe want to spend the night. I go to his place. We walk into his room. He like opens the door. He's like, oh shit, sorry, I forgot to make my bed. And I just remember like standing there with like my new extensions, every like doll. Like I have been prepping for this for weeks, standing there, and he's just like, oh fuck, I forgot to make my bed. Sorry. And I'm like, oh, no worries, no worries. And it was just such a like,
my heart would have sunk to my stomach.
yeah, it like is so
It is
humorous
just
to me,
so
but like,
classic.
yeah.
Like the girl like overthinking everything and like
Yeah.
getting ready and being like, this is going to be so important, and the guy's like not even thinking ahead enough to make his
Like
bed.
doesn't care. He not like, and it wasn't his fault. Like he's not a dick. Like
Yeah.
I was the one constantly putting myself, being like, well, what about me now? What about me now? He was always kind and like would get drinks and hear
Yeah.
me out. I would talk to him, tell him.
Well, I will push back a little bit, and this is not me shitting on you. You're a very kind person, but I think like, because I've been in that situation before, and I do think that like there is a little bit of emotional responsibility for the person to recognize, like, to sense how important it might be for you, or to recognize how
Yeah.
maybe potentially invested you were, and for him to be like honest about how he felt, at least in terms of like how serious it could be or not,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I definitely have like shut it down on the other end before, but I think it's because I experienced it and was like, I don't want you to ever feel how, I don't want you to go through what I was trying to do to this guy. Like, it's not worth your time.
Women do that a lot more than men.
Yeah.
The women that I know that are I actually just went to a comedy show in Brooklyn the other day, and this girl was talking about how she's cheated on like every boyfriend she's ever dated, and she's a serial monogamist. And it's like,
Whoa.
honestly, I don't do this, but a lot of girls that I know that are serial monogamists, it's like they kind of have like emotional affairs before they break up with their boyfriends, so that then
Yeah.
when they break up with them,
They have someone, they like planted seeds and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I've heard of that a lot.
How do you feel about that?
I think like it's so personal in your own journey. I don't know. I like went back to back on situationships, and after and was in so many little things just to like try to get over it. And I needed to go through every single one of those things I went through that I'm so grateful I did. But I think good relationship isn't going to solve
Internal problems.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
still going to be there.
But I think you learn from like every relationship. How long do you think a situationship is?
I think that those 2 to 3 month things are so much harder because you're stuck in this what if, and instead of a real relationship where you tried to figure your goods and bads, and then it still didn't work, and you're like, well, we gave it a best shot. But a situationship is like, but we didn't even work. We didn't even try to see if we were compatible.
Yeah. And like, and you don't know the what ifs. Like, you don't know like if they tried for real, or like if it could have worked if you both focused, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, it's this thing of like
Yeah.
what could have been, which is like so much more heartbreaking.
Yeah, and you're just stuck in this like, maybe if I change this about me.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Have you
Let's see.
ever dated women?
Okay.
I
I thought whenever I was heavier, I have a lot of gay friends, and I like guys just never looked at me that way. And so a lot of them were like, you might be gay and just not know it. Try like going on some dates with women. And so I put my dating apps to women. I just like never wanted to do it, but who knows?
And then you started
maybe.
getting dressed up to go to the grocery store. So I think you're straight.
I know. And then, and then I hooked up with a guy for the first time. And I literally just remember like, I loved it so much. Like next to the UPS guy was walking by, and I was like, I'd fuck him. Like every single guy, I was like, yeah, I'd fucking do it. Like everything was changed. It was like a fucking fiend for it. It was crazy. But,
That's so funny.
yeah.
You were like, UPS guy? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I would do that. Athlete. Like, I don't know. I just like had never really thought about, because I was like, no guy will ever want to, which is my own issue. It has nothing to do with being bigger. Like,
yeah.
that was my own shit.
I think a
put on
lot of
myself.
guys feel that way too. Like, I remember a guy friend of mine said this to me once, and he was like, I'm still not over the fact that like women want to have sex with me.
Yeah.
And he's like a normal looking guy, but he was like, it's crazy to me that a woman would ever want to have sex with me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think we all, when we were kids, like sex was built up as such a big thing
Yeah.
that we were all like, oh my God, me?
Yeah. Well, I also grew up going to a Christian summer camp, and all my counselors really put on a really great show of like, they didn't drink, they didn't like, guys were bad, all these things. So growing up, I wanted to be just like my camp counselors. And so really I didn't drink until I was hazed at 18 in college, and then like to me it was always like kind of a bad thing to like want to date or like to be like hooking up with guys. Like I was like, oh, that means you're bad. I just didn't see myself as like an adult that was like able to have these emotions and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
College reminds me a little bit of like, that's where I first had the introduction to situationships, which I feel like were easier to have in college because you live like so close to each other.
Yeah.
But now when you when you graduate and you become an adult and you're still in situationships, it's almost this like, we're putting so much work to stay in a situationship.
Yeah.
Because it's actually easier if we just like planned ahead and figured out if we were going to hook up this Friday or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like the situationship like rolled over from college.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like sometimes you need time to figure out like, is this someone I want to like go through the arguments with, like figure it out with, like take time to. So I understand why like a situation
totally
has to happen.
And why sometimes if you don't have plans on Friday, you might want to make plans with like someone who you kind of like, but you might want to like wait and see if you get hit up by someone you really like, or if like your friends invite you to a party or something. So that's where the like non-committal thing comes in.
Yeah. I don't know. How long do you think that someone should need before they're like, okay, I'm ready for a real relationship with you?
I think 3 months is like the good thing of like actual consistently like seeing each other like once a week for 3 months.
Yeah.
If that's where you're at, like then you don't have to be like girlfriend, boyfriend, but like at least have a conversation about like exclusivity or monogamy or polyamory or whatever it is you want.
Yeah.
If it gives you anxiety. If it doesn't, then keep doing what you're doing.
I do love living in a major city at this age because it is so much fun hearing so many different types of relationships that people do. I'm monogamous, but it's just so fun hearing people be like, yeah, I have my partner, but we both explore other people.
Yeah.
I could personally never do it, but I love
me
hearing
neither. I
about
also
it.
think it's like a full-time job to be polyamorous. Like it's like I barely have time to date one person or like date in general.
Yeah.
If I find someone that I like, I'm gonna be like, can we just keep it?
Can we just not? I don't want to be worried about
I'm
anyone
so tired.
else.
Can we go to the movie?
I'm sure that listened. I hope we didn't say anything that hurt you. Like seriously, that was all me. I was just in a weird headspace, and
to the girl who broke my heart, it
was all you.
It was all you. Actually, like I know you were mentally unwell, and you like let me help you move, and then you were emotionally unavailable to me.
Yeah, it happens,
and that's wrong.
Yeah.
And you know what's the worst part about that situation with that girl is that like I was literally U-hauled, like literally like I helped her move to her apartment. Like I helped her set up her Wi-Fi, like, and then like a couple weeks later I was like low-key dumped.
Also, I think if you're like stuck in a situationship, just ask. Be like, hey, what the hell are we?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here? Don't waste my time. I also like getting older because I'm like, don't waste my fucking time. Like I do want kids. I do want to be a mom. I do want to get married. Like super traditional in that. And so I'm like, the minute you get it's a no, be kind to me and break up with me. Like don't waste my time. Don't do that. Like
yeah. And I do think that like again that responsibility falls on both people, but like if you are like wanting that answer, then it's like just ask.
Yeah.
And like
and be ready for it too.
Yeah. Be ready for a no. I told a friend that I was like, it wasn't a situationship at all, but like I told a guy friend that I was like into him as more than a friend.
Oh, I did that, yeah. And he's gay now.
He's bisexual, supposedly. But he was like, oh, I just want to be friends. And I was like, okay, well, you're gay. But then really
if a guy ever doesn't like me, I'm like, you're closeted and gay.
Yeah, literally every time.
That's the only thing it could be.
That's the only reason you don't like me.
Otherwise you would be in love with me. Hello.
Duh. Like, why don't you like me?
Yeah.
It's weird to me. It is. It's like suspicious in a big way.
I know people talk about this whenever you lose a lot of weight, because it's such an easy way to be like, oh, they're just like a bitch and they don't like me because of my body. But then now that I'm smaller, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's me. Annoying.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Yeah. You're like, oh, fuck. I'm so hot now.
So hot. It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be my personality.
Unfortunately, some people just don't like some people.
I know.
We talked about this last time, but some people out there are crazy.
Yeah. Well,
people who don't like us are crazy.
Yeah, that's the first sign that you're crazy. If you don't have a crush on me, then you seriously need deep therapy. Yeah. I feel like we're confident. Well, every girl is confident.
No. No, they aren't. But we are.
But
Up
we
here.
are-
We're confident in our brains.
I think that the reason that we are the way we are is because we're so not confident about
Yeah,
our
no,
brains.
you're right. And you're right about that, actually.
And we project it on everything and everyone.
No, we are actually so insecure that like we project confidence.
I
as
think
a
that's
mask.
what it maybe. Oh yeah, because I know that like confidence it's if I'm here and I'm confident, I make you feel better. But if I came in here and I was like insecure, that's not good for you.
Yeah, I talk about that with my therapist a lot of being like, why is it that like inside I think I'm confident, but then I convince myself that I'm not, and then I'm actually insecure, but I pretend to be confident.
Oh, Gracie Lawrence has a song. She's like, I'm confident, but I'm insecure.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that. Well, that's what I am.
Well, she read me well.
Well, that's what we are. Funny and also hot.
And insecure and confident. I just know I would be funnier if like I could just get male validation out of my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
And you will one day. Okay, so we talked about situationships. We were both in one with the same guy. Had a lot of fun talking to you. If anyone doesn't already know who you are, where can they like follow
Which
you
is
or find you?
crazy.
Yeah.
You have to be gay to not know who I am.
And
I'm
by the
just
way, I think
kidding.
gay people actually know who you are.
I know. I love the gays, and the gays are so kind to me. It's Average Fashion Blogger on Instagram and TikTok, but hopefully you won't really see much more stuff from that over the next 5 to 10 years, and you'll start seeing me more on big screen things. But it is really hard to get booked, so maybe you won't.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll never happen.
No, you will. This is going to be like a Chapel Roan interview in like 2 years. Like, you know how she like did so many interviews and so many things and then like blew up?
Yeah, out of nowhere.
This video is going to get 2 million views in a year. All right. Well, thanks for doing the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Bye, guys. Love
Bye.
you.
Like and subscribe.
Love you.